Hi everyone, I know this comes a bit late as everyone has already filed their income tax, but I will be here to give you a tutorial on how to file your income tax. Basically, you first go to my tax portal, just key my tax portal into the search bar, and it should be the first link. Okay, so how you log in? Obviously, you're not a business, you're not a tax agent, so you log in using a personal tax, so I've already logged in using my SingPass. So this is the overview, right? If you don't see anything in the overview, you need to go to individuals, file income tax return. Okay, so proceed to e-file. Yes. Okay, so once you click into that file income tax return, you'll come into this page, and then this is for your employers to fill in. Usually they are on the auto inclusion scheme, then the amount will also be auto transmitted to IRAS, so all this will automatically be filled out by your employers. So you just need to check against your pay slips whether the amounts are correct. Usually nobody really bothers to check, so yeah. Okay, then for the share option plan, so if you have any share option plan and you click yes, I will not go into these details because I believe not many people have share option plans. And for this tax on tax, okay, so what is this, right? It means that your employer has agreed to pay your income tax, and then because of this income tax that they pay for you, there will be a tax on tax effect. So you need to indicate yes if there's any. Then okay, so this is other employment expenses that you also need to declare. So these employment expenses are like, for example, you go for a client meeting, then you all have a dinner together, then you paid for the expenses, but your company did not reimburse you. So you can claim expenses for this because you meet your client, and it's like for like entertainment, but you need to like deduct your own portion lah. Yeah, so if the employer actually gave you reimbursement, right, then you're not eligible to claim for these employment expenses. So what you can claim is make sure they are not capital or private in nature. So not capital means like, for example, you buy like an item to service your clients, but this is considered capital in nature. So the item is like maybe you buy a fan, that's like capital. Then private means like, for example, you go see the doctor. This is like private lah, it's only for you to enjoy. Yeah, so they also give some example of what allowable expenses. And then there's this new work from home expenses, which is because of COVID, they allow this deduction. So how you calculate this, right, is based on your electricity and telecoms charges or Wi-Fi. So for Wi-Fi, usually people are on a fixed plan, so they do not consume more than a certain amount. So it usually doesn't change. So what changes usually will be the electricity. Okay, so for electricity, basically you take your bill, right, you take a look. So if April is the month that you started working from home, right, then you take March as the base month. Then you use 210 divided by the base month, minus the base month, then you will get 40. So they also give an example how you should deduct. So if the amount is actually less than 170, then for that month there will be no amount allowable as tax deduction. Okay. Yeah, so these are more examples. So for example, there are 2 people working from home, and then the total tax deduction is supposed to be 170, but because there are 2 people working from home, you need to divide by 2. Okay, then this example on the use-save rebate. So you need to deduct, it should be net of the use-save rebate. So after the use-save rebate, then actually you get less than the actual base month, right? Then no deduction will be allowed lah. Yeah. Okay, so you keep, so when you submit this, right, they will not ask for any records, but then you need to keep the records, okay? Okay, this is for trade, business, profession, and vocation. So for example, you're carrying out a sole proprietorship or you're doing some side business, you need to declare this income. So this will be here. Or there's a partnership, you need to update the amount. Okay, so if you have any dividends, you just fill in accordingly. Interest usually for Singapore banks, you don't need to declare. Okay, rent, if you own any property, royalty, estate, trust income, declare. Gain or profits of income nature. So according to IRAS, if you like maybe buy and sell a lot on Carousel, right, you can actually qualify for gains and profits under income nature. Okay, income not previously reported, Okay, so you need to if there's any previous YA that you didn't report the income, you want to report now, you can report here. Okay, then now we come to my favorite part, which is the deductions, reliefs, and parenthood tax rebate. Confused, so I'll be conducting a tutorial to teach you all more about all these deductions and tax rebates and what to fill in. So for the donations, it will be usually if you didn't do any personal donations other than those CDAC or MOS fund to your through your salary, then there will be no additional things to declare. Okay, so donations is 2.5 times of the amount that you donated. Okay, then all these reliefs I'll be going through later in a more simplified form. So after you're done filling up all these reliefs, right, you can submit. You can view statement to submit. Okay. Available to Singapore tax residents. So even foreigners can be Singapore tax residents as long as they stay a certain number of days in Singapore during the year. So during the year means during the basis period lah. So for example, if you're talking about the YA 2021, then it will be the basis period is year 2020. So it's always the year preceding the YA. So every time when you submit the income tax return, there will be a YA return on it lah. Yep. Okay, let's talk about the very first relief. So for the very first relief, these are the amounts that you can claim, and this is for earned income. So earned income are those you earn from your trade, or you are self-employed, or you are employed by someone. Yeah. So all these are earned income. So if you for example, you only derive interest income, right, it's not considered as earned income, so you will not qualify for earned income relief. And then so for those who are handicapped, right, you need to submit a tax relief form. So basically you just check your age. So if you are 55 and below, then you'll be $1,000, and if you are handicapped, you can claim more relief lah. Yeah. Okay. Next is the spouse relief. So this spouse relief, right, it is your spouse that you have to be living with you or supported by you. If you are legally separated, then you still pay maintenance to this wife, right? So you can claim the spouse relief. But if you actually give less than 2k to this woman, then you can only claim maybe 1.5k lah. For example, you only gave her 1.5k. So it applies to both male and female spouses. So it's not only males can support females, so females can also be supporting males. So to qualify for this, right, your spouse also cannot have annual income that exceeds 4k. So annual income, right, according to the IRAS, it's all taxable and non-taxable income and exempt income as well. So any kind of income, right, is considered income. So it's actually very easy to hit this $4,000. Yeah, so this $4,000, right, does not apply if your spouse is handicapped. So you can still continue claiming this 5.5k if you live with your spouse and you maintain your spouse. Okay, so those who are divorced and paying alimony to their former spouses, right, you cannot claim this relief. You can only use your new wife to claim relief if you have any. So yeah, so if the spouse relief, right, is claimed on this person, for example, my dad claims spouse relief on my mom, right, then I cannot claim parent relief on my mom as well. But grandparent caregiver relief can claim. So I'll be talking about these few reliefs in the next few slides. Okay, next the third relief is the QCR and handicapped child relief. So basically they are the same relief depending on whether your child is handicapped or not. So if your child is normal, right, so your child either has to be under 16 years old or receiving a full-time education, plus the income must be less than 4k. So it's excluding scholarship, allowance and internship. Plus they must be unmarried also. So the income, right, is the same definition as the previous slide. Yeah. So if your child is actually handicapped but unmarried, then you can doesn't matter of the age, right, you can continue claiming this handicapped child relief. Okay, so when your son goes to serve NS, right, there will be no qualifying child relief or working mother child relief during this period. So after your child comes back from NS, then they start uni, right, then you can continue claiming this QCR or HCR. Yeah, so the relief, right, this relief amount can be apportioned amongst the spouses. So usually they will ask the guy to claim the QCR because guy usually earn more. And then because also the females also get much more reliefs compared to the men. So females also have this working mother child relief. So usually they will give the 4K first to the man lah. Then after that, the remaining, if they have maybe 50K of woman WMCR, they will claim the remaining 46K lah, for the woman. Yeah, so you cannot claim handicapped sibling relief on this same person if the handicapped child relief was claimed. So for example, my dad, right, if he has a handicapped child, then for example, I am also the child, but I'm not the handicapped child. Then I try to claim handicapped sibling relief, cannot, because my dad has already claimed the handicapped child relief. So only one person can claim the child relief or the sibling relief on the same person. Yeah. Okay, now we move on to the WMCR that I was talking about just now. So for WMCR, it's only applicable to females, so males don't try to claim it. Okay, so it's on 15% of the earned income of the mother. So it's earned income, it's only those like active income. So like you receive from the bank, all this not counted lah, because this is not active income. So active income must be like you go out and work, or you run a business or something lah. Okay, so it'll be 15% for the first child, second child will be 20%, and third and subsequent child will be 25%. So for this combination, right, together with the WMCR, there will be a 50K cap per child. Yeah. So then the overall cap, right, for all these WMCR and QCR will be the 100% of the mother's income lah. So for example, if you actually give some of the amounts to the dad, then actually there might be some leftover amounts that the mom still might need to pay. Yeah. So basically, how to claim this, right, is must satisfy all the QCR and the HCR conditions, which is stipulated in the previous slide. And the child must be Singaporean. So for QCR and HCR, the children don't need to be Singaporean. But for the working mother child relief, right, the child must be Singaporean. So if unfortunately the child passes on, right, then the order will still remain the same. For example, your first child died, then your second child will always be your second child. You can always claim on your second child, but your first child, then when he or she is gone, then you can never claim on it lah. Yeah. Okay, this one is teaching you how to determine the child order. It's quite complicated. You can go and read by yourself. So basically, if like your child is born to you and you are married, then you will be the child date of birth on the certificate. If before you are married, then it will be the date of marriage. Then for stepchild, there will be the date of birth. Yeah, and also cannot be used to determine, like, for example, there's another woman lah that had a kid, then you become your stepchild, right? This will not be part of the determining the child order lah, because a child, right, can only be a quantum of one family. So for example, if like the mother still take care of the child, then it's obviously not part of your family lah, so you cannot count it as your child. Yeah. Okay, the next relief will be the parent relief. So if stay with the parent, there will be more lah. If does not stay with parent and then incur more than 2K in supporting them, then you can claim the lesser amount. So for this, right, it's applicable to parents, grandparents, and in-laws. So as long as they are above 55 years old and they stay in Singapore, and their income is less than 4K. Income is also subject to the same definition just now, all the income that I mentioned. Okay, so this parent relief or handicapped parent relief, right, can be claimed among siblings or spouses lah. So you all go and sort it out yourself, who want to claim what lah. Yeah. So spouse relief cannot be claimed on this same dependent also, like just now I mentioned. The spouse relief, like for example, you claim handicapped spouse relief on the mom already, right? Then you as a child, right, you cannot claim on the same parent that is handicapped lah. Yeah. But for the grandparent caregiver relief, right, it can always be claimed lah, but it's per dependent only. Yeah. So this relief can be claimed on 2 dependents per taxpayer. So the max I can get, for example, both my parents stay with me and stuff, right? Then I can get 9,000 times 2 lah. I can get 18,000 tax relief. Yeah. So the last claim that you can actually make on your parents is when a parent or grandparent, when they pass away, is like the last year, like for example, pass away in 2020, then you can claim for YA 2021, so YA 2022, and after that you can never claim anymore because your parent's gone already. Next one is the grandparent caregiver relief. So this is $3,000 max. Is for females only. You are a working mother with a Singaporean child that is 12 and below, or you have an unmarried handicapped child that doesn't need to be 12 and below. Yeah, so your grandparent, your parent-in-law or whatever, right, will help you look after the child, but this one no need to be proven to the IRAS. So this grandparent or parent, right, must be living in Singapore and they are not working. So you can claim this $3,000. You can only claim on one caregiver. So no matter like both your parents looking after, also only you can claim on one caregiver. So no one else can be claiming this grandparent child relief on the same caregiver. Like for example, my mom, my sister cannot claim on her if I want to claim on her. Yeah. So but all other claims like spouse relief or those dependent relief that I mentioned above, all these are independent. You can continue claiming them. Yeah. Okay, so for handicapped sibling relief, right, you can claim on your mentally or physically handicapped sibling or sibling-in-law. So they have to live with you in Singapore in the same household, or you incur 2K in supporting them. So these are the definition of physical or mental handicap. So this relief, right, can be apportioned amongst siblings. Like for example, if I have my younger sister is handicapped, then I can share it with me and my second sister lah, that kind of thing. So we can apportion like that. Or my spouse want to claim, I can also share together. So we have to agree on how much to apportion it lah. So but for this handicapped sibling relief to be claimed, right, handicapped child relief cannot be claimed by my dad because it cannot be claimed on the same person. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier just now. Okay, so for the cost fees relief, this is the next relief, maximum of 5.5K per year. So you can claim on any cost fees that you incurred that is in relation to your current job or your future job. Yeah, so you cannot claim on those like recreational activities. They have many definitions. You have to go and read more in depth. So if like for example you use your SkillsFuture to pay for it, then obviously you cannot claim this cost fee relief because you didn't pay a single cent lah. Yeah, so you can only claim a portion of the fees that you paid. So any amount paid or reimbursed by other organizations cannot be claimed. So the fees that they have included are the test fees, exam fees, registration fees, and enrollment fees, and or tuition fees. Okay, next we move on to the NS-Man relief. So there are 3 types of NS-Man relief. It's for self, wife, or parent. So for self, right, it will be after the person has actually completed NS and ORD, then you can start claiming yourself NS-Man relief. So during the years of reservice, right, you will be counted as active. So active, you can claim the $3,000. But if you are those like key appointment holders, you can claim up to $5,000. So after you finish all your reservice, after the 10 years of reservice, right, you can claim as inactive, okay, under the 1.5K and the 3.5K. So key appointment holders are like majors and above. So corporate is not counted as a key appointment holder. Okay. So other than yourself, you can claim, right? Your wife that you marry also can claim. So the wife can claim $750. So even after this NS-Man die, right, the widows can continue to claim for this NS-Man relief unless they remarry someone else. Okay. Then for each parent of this NS-Man, right, you can claim $750. So for example, I have a brother that serves NS, then my parents can claim $750 each. Okay, so even if they had 2 NS kids, right, they also can claim $750 each only. Okay, so even when the child dies, right, like for example the Aloysius Punk incident, the parent can continue claiming this NS-Man relief on the deceased child. So for this NS-Man relief, right, you can either claim for self, wife, or parent. You cannot claim for all 3. So you will always claim the highest lah. For example, if you are NS man yourself, you always claim your own NS man relief because it's the highest. Yeah, then if you are a wife and you are a mother, it's the same lah. Whether you are a wife or mother, it's also 750. Yeah. Okay, then for the next relief is the foreign domestic worker levy relief. So this is only for females to claim lah. It's 2 times the amount of levy paid on any of your 1 worker. So for example, you employ like 4 workers, right? Also only can claim on 1 worker, but usually the second and subsequent worker, the levy will be higher lah. So you can claim on any of these 4. So obviously you will claim the highest lah. You will claim the most expensive one. Yeah. Okay, so to claim this relief, either you or your husband need to employ a domestic worker. So either you live and marry your husband, you marry your husband and then you are living with him, or you married him but he's not a tax resident of Singapore, so he does not live with you, or you are separated from your husband but have QCR claims. So this is you can claim whether you or your husband has paid the levy lah. Yeah. Okay, now we move on to the CPF relief. This is my favorite because everyone doesn't really know how to compute this. Yes. So the contributions that do not qualify for CPF relief are those that made in excess of the compulsory contributions, or the AW exceed the compulsory contributions again, or CPF made in respect of your overseas employment. So how much CPF relief can you claim? It's always based on 17 months plus the current prevailing OW cap rate that they want to give you. So currently in Singapore is $6,000. So it will be $102,000 for your OW and EW cap. So what is OW and EW? OW is ordinary wages, which is like your monthly salary and stuff. AW is like bonuses. Yeah. So the cap is always 17 months of the OW cap per month lah. So how they calculate, it will become 102, and then the maximum of your claims, right, will be $102,000 times the percentage of the employee contribution depending on age. So for example, I'm 27 years old, so my employee contribution is 20%. So my maximum claim, right, per year for CPF relief, right, is always 20% times $102,000. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether you are currently self-employed or whatever. So the maximum CPF you can claim for relief, right, is always the same amount if you are same age as me lah, depending on your employee contribution rate. So this rate can be taken from the CPF website to calculate. So for now, right, if you don't know anything, right, just go $102,000 times 20%. 20% is my percent, like you go and check your percent, and then that's the max amount of CPF relief you can claim. Okay, so after you exceed this amount of claim, right, you cannot claim the CPF relief anymore. You can continue to top up your CPF, it doesn't matter, but you just cannot claim any like tax relief. Okay, then we move on to the CPF cash top-up relief, only for Singaporeans. So is this only for Singaporeans? Then previously the CPF relief is for both Singaporeans and PR. This one is only for Singaporeans. So it is to encourage Singaporeans to plan for their retirement. So the max you can claim is $7,000 for yourself and $7,000 for one dependent. Okay, so this is only applicable if your CPF account has not reached the full retirement sum. So the full retirement sum, right, is determined based on different years. Like you need to go and check the CPF website. Okay, so to qualify for this CPF cash top-up, right, relief, you or your employer have to have made cash top-up. So it cannot be like you transfer money from your CPF account to your mom's CPF account. This doesn't work. Okay, yeah. Then if you have made a cash top-up to your parents-in-law, grandparents-in-law, spouse or siblings, in which their income is less than 4K, you can also claim the 7K for the dependent one. Yeah, so this is additional 14K tax relief that you can get if you actually make this CPF cash top-up relief. So this is even if like you exceeded the CPF relief just now that I mentioned, this is in addition. You can continue to claim relief for this. Okay. Yeah. This is the same slide. I don't know why it's repeated. Okay, next, this is the life insurance relief. This is only for non-Singapore, usually only for non-Singaporean and non-PRs lah, because of the CPF cap that I will be mentioning. So usually for expats. So you can only claim this life insurance relief, right, if your CPF contributions by yourself is less than 5k for the whole year. That is quite impossible. That means you earn, if your CPF contribution rate is 20%, right, that means you earn less than 25k during the whole year, then you can claim this life insurance relief. So if, for example, you maybe you make 10k lah in the previous year, then your CPF contribution will be 2k, right? So what you can claim is the additional 3k lah. If, for example, you spend 3k on your life insurance, which is quite impossible. If you earn so little, why will you be spending 3k on your life insurance? So this will never really work for Singaporeans. It's only for expats. Okay. You can claim on lower of either the premiums paid or 7% of the sum assured. So if you have never made any CPF contribution and your premiums paid was $3,000 and it's also lower than 7% of the sum assured. Usually pay like $3,000, the sum assured will be about at least 1.5 million already. So it definitely, the amount of premiums paid is the lesser amount, usually lah. Yeah. So you just claim on like $3,000 lah. But the max cap is $5,000. For example, you'll be paying like $10,000 for your life insurance premiums per year, then you can only cap it at $5,000 for this relief. Okay, now we move on to this very complicated scheme called the Supplementary Retirement Scheme. So this scheme, right, is not only for foreigners, it's for both Singaporeans and foreigners. Okay, so you can always contribute to this scheme as often as you like, but there's a maximum cap. There's $15,000, $15,300 for Singaporean citizens, and foreigners is $35,700. So how this is computed is based on the 102k that I mentioned, which is 17 months OW cap, then times 15%. So this is the additional amount you can contribute to SRS. Okay. Then for foreigners, it's a 35% of this 102k. Okay. So what's the benefit of contributing to this SRS scheme? It is because the withdrawals, right, are only 50% taxable if you withdraw on retirement age. Okay. So for example, I reach my retirement age, right? Then I withdraw $10,000. Then only $5,000 will contribute to my taxable assessable income for the year. So if I contribute $10,000 in my current year, I already get it off in my tax relief, because there will be tax relief also once you contribute to this. So this is why people contribute to the SRS scheme. So if you are expat, right, and you contribute, like for example, you are 20 years old, you contribute, right? Then when you are 30 years old, you can start withdrawing it, and it's only taxable at 50%. Okay, so if you withdraw before that, right, it's 100% taxable, and there will be a 5% penalty. So think carefully before you start contributing. Okay, so based on all this, right, there are 15 reliefs that I went through just now. It's also capped at $80,000 per taxpayer. Yeah, so last time they used to have this spouse relief you can transfer to each other, but now don't have really, so it's 80,000 per taxpayer. So actually the working mother child relief, right, actually if you earn a lot, you will be capped at 80,000 already. Yeah, so other than the tax reliefs, right, tax reliefs are always deducted after you see, right, there's earned income and losses, then your donations. Then after that, you will have your release that I mentioned just now. So after that, you arrive at your chargeable income. So after your chargeable income, you can still get rebates from the government. So what kind of rebates does the government have? So for this parenthood tax rebate, when your child is born, you can start enjoying this parenthood tax rebate. And your child must be Singaporean within 12 months of the birth. But for example, if you are unmarried, then your child is born, right? Then you can still enjoy this, but not in the year that your child is born. It's when you get married, and your child must be before he reaches 6 years old if you want to qualify for this rebate. So if, for example, you already married someone but you cannot get any kids and then you want to adopt a kid. So for example, you adopt a kid and it's like below 6 years old, you can also qualify for this parenthood tax rebate. Okay, so this rebate can be carried forward indefinitely until it's utilized. And the ranking is based on the taxpayer. So a child cannot be from 2 households. As I mentioned just now, based on this thing, right, rebate is much better than the reliefs. So reliefs is based on like income, how much they deduct amount, right? Then you know, when after you have the chargeable income, you tax at the percent, right? You'll be like 22% or something lah. So after the percent, right, then you have the rebate, right? So this is actually rebate is based on tax payable instead of the income that you earn. So it's a much better, this amount is actually much bigger, right, compared to the reliefs that you actually enjoy lah. So it's always good to have a kid, I think. Yeah. So this tax rebate can always be carried forward until it's fully utilized. Okay. So these are some of the examples of what happens to your parenthood tax rebate if you have other kind of complications lah. Like for example, you want to give up your child and stuff. Then you can only enjoy the parenthood tax rebate for the first year or something. Yeah, but if your marriage is dissolved, then you can continue to still enjoy this parenthood tax rebate. Even if your spouse pass away, you can still continue to enjoy this tax rebate. Okay, that will be all for the tax info that you need to know. I hope you all enjoyed this session and you all find out more about the tax reliefs and what's the difference between tax relief and tax rebate. Yeah, so if you have any questions on personal tax, you can reach out to me, but I'm not the best expert to be answering your personal tax questions because I used to specialize in corporate tax, but I did learn personal tax in school. So yeah, that will be all. Thank you. Bye bye.